Vito would like to place a stop loss using one candle back if one candle back has a lower price. If you're making a long trade, if the previous bar has a low price, then set the stop loss to the low of the previous bar for a long, and vice versa if you're taking a short trade. All right, easy done. All right, so let's pick a entry order type here. So I'll just pick market, and the question is really about setting up the stop loss here. So I would let's see here. I would suggest using either the previous bar, low high fixed, or you can go into the trailing menu and pick the previous bar low high with trailing there. And then so I picked the trailing one, and of course, you got to be aware that if you're setting your stop loss to the low of the previous bar, well, you can't place a long trade if the market's moving down, right? Because the previous bar's low could very well be higher than the market. So that would be an invalid, price location for setting a stop loss, right? So what you might want to do instead is, if you're using that quick list that I showed you here, you might want to go into the initial placement and let's see here. Instead of using the low of the bar, let's use the entry price and just set this, as some kind of fixed stop loss. So let's just put this stop loss 20 ticks out. So we'll start it out as 20 ticks, and then the trailing rolls here, and then the trailing rolls will actually the trailing rolls are going to kick in immediately. So on the trailing rolls here, if we want to make this a little smarter, then we should, on the trigger here, we should use the price versus indicator, price versus indicator triggering rule here, and we can confirm that, let's see here, we can check the last market price and make sure that it is above the low price of the previous bar before the trailing roll kicks in there, right? So, and also, let's see, for the NQ, let's create something like a 16 tick buffer. Let's make a 16 tick buffer there. All right. So what I've done is I kind of built in a safety check here for this trailing roll. So what it's going to do is it's going to compare the market's last price to the low of the bar. So for a long trade, the low of the bar plus 16 ticks, right? So what that means is that the last price has to be 16 ticks above the low of the bar before this trailing roll can kick in, right? So that builds in a safety factor there, before this trailing roll can just automatically start trailing there. And let me check the modes here. So we want A equal or above B. That's correct for a long trade. So so there you go. So there's a slight improvement, to this trailing roll, so that if you do decide to go long when the market's trending down, your stop loss doesn't just, you know, get blown out of the water right off the bat. So, right. So let's give this a little shot. All right, let's go long. There we go. And bingo. There we go. Let's see. I'm on a 10 range chart. Yeah, so the market moved 16 ticks pretty quickly there. Let's see. Let's try and go long again. Let's see what happens. There we go. Yeah. All right. There you go, Vito. You know, another little neat trick that we can do here. So another little tip is we can go into the repeat and check the only repeat when re-triggered. So what that means is that every time this trailing roll is evaluated, the trigger has to become true. So the stop loss can only move when the last price is 16 ticks above the low. Let's see. Actually, well, yeah, that probably. Let's see. I'm on a 10 range chart. So, yeah, that'll work. Yeah. So that'll still work. Yeah, so the market basically would have to keep moving up, up and up and up, you know, higher than the low price, right, of the previous closed bar, right? So this condition, right, this price versus indicator, you know, condition here always has to become true before this stop loss rule gets repeated there. All right, so we're going to see a different behavior now. Let's see if I can go short. Yeah. All right, is the market going to pull back and tag me? Yep. All right, let's try and go long. No. All right, let me switch instruments here. NQ is kind of tough. Actually, I'll switch over to the RTY. There we go. All right, let's try and go long. Oh, it's still loading. Okay. There we go. All right, I'll try and go long. Let's see how this plays out. All right, I'll try this again here, go long, and we'll see if the market, yeah, it's in a bit of a, no, it's in an uptrend. Yeah, it's just a nice deep pullback. There we go. No. Yeah, so what has to happen in order for this stop loss to start trailing is we need, oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, you know, we need these long bars because, you know, looking at the low, right, the market has to go 16 ticks above it there. And so what happened here is back here from this low, right, because we had such a deep pullback, the market wasn't able to move 16 ticks higher from this bar's low because of this deep pullback, right? So you got to think of the type of bar that you're trading. So on a 10 range, you can't have a deep pullback for the market to get 16 ticks above the previous low price, right? So that's why the trailing rule never kicked in back here. But as long as we get, you know, a nice long straight up bar, just like we did here, right? Actually, I'll check my line. Make sure my line is 16 ticks. see. There we go. All right, now my line is 16 ticks long. Yeah, so we can see measuring from the low to this bar just got 1 tick above, and so the trailing roll kicked in. And we can see it, yeah, here, and then there, that trailing roll kicked in, right? So if there is a deep pullback, right, then the market, the market has to get 16 ticks above there. There. Yeah, there we go. So we can see the market got up to that 16 tick and a couple of ticks higher, in fact. So, all right, so there you go. There's a couple of tricks there to think about, right? Adding a conditional requirement before a trailing roll starts, and then if you want this trailing roll to constantly be evaluated on every single bar, then in the repeat you can enable the only repeat when re-triggered. So this trigger has to be, right, this trigger rule has to be true every single time before the action can kick in. So let's see. All right, yeah, so all right, so Vito just wanted to see the initial stop loss setting. All right, yeah, no problem. So we got a little fancier here. So yeah, if you just want to set up the initial stop loss to the previous bar's low, then just use the quick list right there. The previous bar low or high, fixed right there, right? So this stop loss, right, has the initial placement set up for you. So it's the low price or the high price, right? No offset. So again, you can add, a 1 tick offset if you want, put -2 or -1 if you want it 1 or 2 ticks below the low price. And if we look at the trailing actions, right, there is no trailing rules for that, for the fixed, right? So this first quick list menu here, all the fixed ones don't have any trailing rules. So you have to go into the trailing rules to get some, to have the trailing rules section filled out for you. So there you go, right there.